We're going to move very quickly to make sure we stay on time. Our next speaker is Mark Lepker. Mark was a former board member of CERIAS, and he was our representative from the NSA, recently retired, and but now is working on a new initiative and with the museum, the National Crypto Museum. Mark?
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? This work? Okay, cool. I apologize for a little bit of the laryngitis that I'm getting over, so hopefully I can talk through this. It's great to be the opening act for Melissa and her panel that will happen at 11 o'clock on cyber education, because it's extremely important. How many people think that the pipeline is full and ready to help cyber professionals? It's not. So you students in the back, great choice on picking cyber education, because the pipeline is basically empty. And our job is to try to fill that pipeline. From what I understand, these slides will be available, so I'm going to cut my talk a little bit short, but I'm going to give you two takeaways that I'd like for you to remember from this talk, hopefully, and then look at the slides, and happy to talk with you later. And hopefully this will work. Outstanding. Nice job. Sorry, did I go over? The Cyber Center for Education and Innovation is the new home for the National Cryptologic Museum. I'm very happy to be here to expose you to that. I've got some great pictures of what the new museum will be like. I know I'll get at least 3 or 4 hands from the folks here from NSA, but how many people have actually been to the physical site of the National Cryptologic Museum? Okay, you know what that looks like. So you're going to see some really exciting things, and one of the most important part is this new Cyber Center for Education and Innovation. Our vision is to educate, our vision is to stimulate and to commemorate, and the first 2 bullets are what I want you to take away from this conference. There is so much good stuff that's happening out in the world on cyber curriculum and cyber education, especially through K through 12, but also 13 to 20. The problem is it's all over the place. So we're trying to provide a national center of gravity where that information can be shared and collaborated with. Now we will also have, as a centerpiece to that, what we call the Cyber Cube. And I'll talk a little bit about that. This is where NSA, through grant money that we were given by Congress, we're able to give grants to universities to develop extremely very good and deep cyber curriculum. That cyber curriculum is holistic. It goes all the way from what you teach in the classroom to the tests, the full range of what you would need to teach a particular module in cybersecurity or a complete course. We will have that available for free to any university or academic environment who'd want to use that. Now we're going to have role-based access control, because obviously we don't want a student getting a hold of the test. And also we kind of know who our 2 nation states will probably be the first lining up to get that curriculum. And so we want to have some role-based access to protect that curriculum a little bit and know who has that curriculum. The stimulate part is exactly what's happening here at CERIAS. And I'm very happy to be here and talk, because these types of conferences are happening all over the country. But we need to look at how we collaborate these conferences as well. The Cyber Center for Education hosted last year a conference called Eligible Receiver 97. Within the Department of Defense, that was a watershed event back in 1997. The most important point that came out of that conference was cyber hygiene. What's the most important point 20 years later? Cyber hygiene. So have we made a lot of success? No. We need to stimulate that dialogue in a collaborative way, and there's great technologies virtually to do that, through webinars, through podcasts, and to continue the dialogue. The panel yesterday was a great example of that stimulated, diverse conversation between privacy and security. We need to do that virtually, and that's what the National Cyber Center for Education and Innovation is going to try to do, is to be that center of gravity and to be that opportunity to pull these conversations together virtually. I'll let you read through a lot of these online when you see it, But this is what the new center will look like. So for those of you who have been to the museum, cool new plant, 79,000 square feet of physical space. Right where this car is parked is the current museum. Okay, so for those of you who've been there, that'll be torn down and the new museum will be here. This entire structure is an encrypted message. And throughout the sidewalk are the keys for that encrypted message. Again, it's for an education standpoint, for students to come physically and look at that place and learn about cryptography and how to decrypt, etc. But the fifth bullet here is what I really want to draw your attention to. There are a few hands that said they've been there physically. We want to make this so you can virtually be at the museum. So we are using, through the great contributions of industry. Industry has been donating money to the museum. A lot of them have earmarked it for education. I thank them for that because that gives us the opportunity to use the latest virtual technology to bring this museum to no matter where you are in the country, you can be at the museum physically. So all the industry partners in here, if you're interested in helping in this project, please come see me. We're always looking for folks who are dedicated to helping us in this mission. These are some just shots I'll go through real quickly of what the museum will look like. As you can see, it's a gorgeous space. One of the opportunities is this will seat 700 people in conference-like facilities. You see off in this area is what looks like a library. We'll have rare books in that library from cybersecurity. Over in this side is more of the museum space. It triples the museum space of what's there. The designer is out of New York, the ones who did the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. It's going to be beautiful, much like the Purdue Welcome Center. How many people have been over to the Purdue Welcome Center? And you can just touch a screen. Those virtual technologies will also be available in our building. The sweet spot of what the center will bring is this red dot that as you review the slides you'll see, but it's the knowledge transfer, it's the digital cybersecurity library, it's that center of gravity to pull all the great activities that are happening nationally together into one location to where we can collaborate. I'll let you read this at another time, but you'll also see this opportunity for K through 12 students and to look at faculty. Faculty today have a challenge in teaching, especially K through 12, in teaching cybersecurity because not many of them know how to do that. So we're looking at how to embellish that in a virtual way to teach the teachers on how to teach cybersecurity in our classrooms. We have a great partnership with the University of Maryland, no surprise because we're sitting right next with them. But if you'll also see, it's the Centers of Academic Excellence. And I always wear my Purdue tie. And so being a Boilermaker, born and raised here, Purdue always has a voice in that room on how to use all of the Centers of Academic Excellence, which there are over 200, and more importantly, the research centers, which Purdue is one of the elite Centers of Academic Excellence in research. The digital cyber library, I'd like to spend a few seconds before we start the panel here at 11 o'clock. That's where NSA is going to provide us the curricula over to the National Cryptologic Museum Foundation, because we can be that outside front door to NSA, because we sit outside the fence, not inside the fence. It gives us the opportunity to host that curriculum in what we call the Cyber Cube, where universities will have access to that information. I'd like to draw your attention to the last bullet down here, and this is where our K through 12 activity is going to be specialized in. Again, due to a grant from one of our industry partners, we now have the funding to look at everything that's been happening in K through 12. There's a lot of really good work. There's a lot of sometimes good work that goes on in K through 12. Not all of it is cyber accurate, and so we're looking to look at all that curriculum and make sure that there is cyber accuracy to it, but more importantly, to engage with teachers who are teaching K1 and 2 and saying, hey, this is what somebody would like to teach. Could a kindergarten, first, second grade even understand this material? Is it age appropriate for a 5th grader or a 6th grader? What do we need to teach them? Teachers know what students can learn. And we're going to pair that with the experts in cybersecurity to make sure we've got curricula from a best practice standpoint that everybody can share. Why reinvent the wheel? We need to float all boats very quickly, and by having this center of gravity at the Cyber Center for Education Innovation, we can share that information with everyone to be able to use it. If you notice, it's a partnering in this virtual capability. The CyberCube is the hallmark of the center, but it's also working with everyone else. We work very closely with the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Information or Education, NICE. We're sit on their boards and on their working groups to work with them on bringing the national perspective to this. You'll see the Ensure logo, which started here at Purdue with Melissa and I back in 2012. This is where NSA tech directors started teaching classes. After 5 years, we're up to 13 universities and over 8 government agencies, with graduating over 364 students out of the Ensure program. And that's obviously linked in with CERIAS. So just the last slide I want to share with you before we start the panel here on time at 11 o'clock is what the Cube is all about. The Cube is that opportunity to have high quality 13 to 20 content, and then hopefully over time we'll have K through 12 content in the Cube. But it's curriculum that's been developed, that has been curated, has been looked at by the National Security Agency as solid curriculum in cybersecurity that we can then share nationally. Many schools are aching for something to teach. One of the aspects of the Cube that we're very proud of is the analytics in that Cube. If I have a class and I just want to teach a module on forensics, you'll be able to go in the Cube and ask the Cube for those modules. Now, that module may be developed by University X, and we may have another module from University Y, and it will bring that together to where you've got the right modules to teach for that classroom. It has full content for teaching, PowerPoints, syllabuses, the full thing that professors need to teach, along with the tests and the answers, etc., for that curriculum. So you don't need to develop it yourself. You'll have access and know that the pedigree of that curriculum has been reviewed and is excellent curriculum. So we're very proud with the College of Cyber at NSA that we partner with to be able to host this curriculum. And that is definitely the centerpiece for the Cyber Center for Education Innovation. So my time is up. If you're interested in more about this, I know the slides will be available. I'm an email away, so please feel free to email me. Any industry partners who have a few extra bucks that they'd like to donate and participate, obviously I have a card in my pocket for you. Happy to do that. And most importantly, the students. Students, please. We're doing this for you. So if you're interested in this, we're looking at really virtualizing cyber education for the nation. So those are the aspects that we're trying to bring to bear and bring a center of gravity to all the great work that is happening in our nation. I appreciate the opportunity to expose this to you, and we look forward, more than likely the museum, I think we're looking at 2020 for the physical museum to be open, but the Cyber Center for Innovation is obviously virtually going to be open before the 2020 physical date. But we all welcome you to the physical plant of the museum as well. So pending any questions, we'll bring up Melissa's panel, which is going to talk about the future of cyber education.